Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I wanted to talk about the fact that I am probably never going to own another male mouse. So if you've never seen any of my other videos on him, this is my male mouse Fig, and he's about a year and a half old now, so he's getting a little old man, and I've had him ever since he was about 10 weeks old, and I did get him from what you would class as a backyard breeder. This girl that was trying to breed mice and was having a really hard time actually finding them homes. Males are really hard to find homes for and really hard to house because they do end up fighting with each other. He was actually being housed with his brothers and he was fighting with his brothers, so she reached out to me and was like, if you can take him off my hands, because she didn't have that much interest in people actually wanting male mice. If you can take him, I will drive him to you and give him to you for free, just so that he can get away from his brothers which were attacking him and allow him to live a decent life. So yeah, I've had Fig for over a year now and he brings me so much joy on a daily basis. He is the funniest animal I've ever met, and I want to talk about the fact that I really don't want another male mouse. So I'm going to put Fig behind me on my desk just so that he can have a little run around and kind of be in the background of this video, otherwise he's going to get really annoyed at me holding him and probably poop all over me. I guess the main message that I wanted to get across in this video is how important it is to do your research before you go out and buy or adopt an animal, just to know exactly what to expect when you bring them home and what to expect whilst caring for them. But there are some things that you'll only learn and really understand after owning an animal, and these things may sway your decision to not own that animal again in the future. Now, there's nothing wrong with realising that you don't want to own a certain animal again. This in no way reflects on your love or care for that particular animal you have. You just may be moving on from owning that particular species. I have owned so many different species of animals in the past that I probably wouldn't own again. Most of these were like family animals, so not directly mine or not just mine, but some of these were, we had guinea pigs as a family, and there's nothing that I didn't like about them. I just prefer other rodent species. I also had a lot of gerbils growing up, which maybe I'll talk about in another video, but I've had my fair share of gerbils and I think I'm done owning them now. And I've also had a lot of rabbits. Now, I absolutely adore rabbits. I love rabbits. I love the two that I currently have now, which a lot of people don't know about, but I have moved back to my family home where my family as a whole has 2 rabbits, and they're about 8 years old now. And I've had a lot of rabbits. I was born into a family that had rabbits, so I've had them my entire life growing up, but rabbits are one of those things that I can't really see myself owning again in the future unless I have a really big house, which I really doubt is going to happen anytime soon. And rabbits take a lot of care, which obviously I knew, but I've learned a lot more about rabbits now that make me think maybe I don't want to own rabbits again in the future, at least not anytime soon. There's also so many animals out there that I really want to own, and I haven't had the chance to do that yet. And maybe if I still kept the same species of animals that I had previously, I wouldn't have the time, the money and the energy to put into owning these animals I've always wanted to own, so I guess something has to give there. So when I say that I don't want to own male mice again, that in no way reflects on my love of Fig. I absolutely adore him and he's really opened my eyes to owning mice, and I love him so much. So there are a few reasons why I don't want to own another male mouse again in the future, which I thought would be interesting to talk about in a video. The first reason, and probably the main reason why I won't be owning another male mouse, is the smell. Now, I was warned about this beforehand. I spoke to a couple of people saying that I was interested in owning male mice and kind of got a feel for what they were like to own before I actually went out to own them, which is the right thing to do, but I don't think I could have ever anticipated how much he smells. Now, I don't know if that's just him as an individual. I do have a friend that had a male mouse and I went over to her house and met him, met his cage and everything, and I really didn't think he smelt that bad, but she had quite a large open plan house, so I guess it depends on a lot of things. She had quite a large room, so the smell wasn't that overpowering and I had no idea what to expect. There are a lot of things that can actually determine how bad the smell actually is. The individual itself may be a bit more smelly than other male mice. I've had some people tell me their males don't smell at all, which I find really surprising, but then I've only ever really experienced Fig, so I'm just going off what I've experienced with him. Their diet can also make a difference. The bedding you use, if it's absorbent enough, that can really make a difference to smell. And I guess your own tolerance to smells can also sway whether you think it is a really bad smell or not. And then also your room, so whether it has good ventilation, how big the actual room is itself, will kind of determine how bad the actual smell gets. Without being too over dramatic, I kind of want to describe how the smell is to me. It's kind of like a musky, obviously a pea smell, but like pea that's been left for like 20 years, kind of really like takes your breath away sometimes. If you put your face too close to his cage, sometimes it kind of burns your throat, which is not something I expected. I have rats and nothing that they do bothers me that much, but sometimes putting my face right near him really like burns my throat. It can be quite intense and like an eye-watering smell. So yeah, he is really stinky. Again, of course, this is not something that makes me love him any less. I love him for who he is, and his adorable, hilarious personality makes up for it, but it is definitely something that has swayed me to not wanting another male in the future. And it's just something you have to keep on top of. Spot cleaning, wiping any surfaces that may have his scent marking on it, and just making sure you have a really good bedding. That's all you can really do to reduce the smell, but it is definitely something that I've noticed and something that has kind of put me off in the future. The second reason that I don't want to own another male mouse, and less important really than the first one in swaying my decision, is the fact that he has to live alone. Whether males should live in pairs or live alone is probably one of the most controversial and widely debated topics when it comes to mouse care. And that's not something that I'm going to go into in this video. It deserves its whole separate video. But the fact of the matter is, Fig cannot live with other males. When I got him, he was fighting with his male siblings and they were injuring each other, and if he'd carried on living with them, then one of them probably would have ended up dead. So living with other males is not an option for Fig. However, there are some other options out there that people have suggested to me over time and having owned him for a year, and I'm going to talk about these briefly. So some of the options that have been suggested to me are neutering him, which I don't really know any vets in my area that would be comfortable with neutering and performing that kind of surgery on an animal this small. Hey, let's not shoot things. Another option that I've had suggested and one that I've heard about before is keeping male mice in with female African soft-furred rats. Now I believe these are more common in the US because they're bred as feeders for snakes, and I believe that you're able to get them alive because live feeding is more of a thing over in the US, but in the UK it's actually illegal to live feed snakes, so there aren't that many African soft-furred mice here. And to be honest, I don't really have much interest in owning them because I've heard that they can be a lot harder to tame than domestic mice. So those two options aren't always accessible to everyone. I would be really worried to actually neuter him and put him through that kind of surgery, and I don't think there is a vet near me that would actually do that. And then I don't really know of anywhere that actually sells African soft-furred rats in my area or in the UK. I've seen them in like the RSPCA and stuff, but there isn't that many that I'm aware of. So what about him actually living alone makes me not want another male in the future? Right now, and for Fig's entire lifespan, I have been at home with him most of the day. I've been either at uni or right now I am home with him most of the time, so I can give him as much of my attention as possible. That's the important thing if you are going to decide to keep a male mouse and you don't have an alternative to keeping them in social groups, is to make sure you spend as much time with them as possible. Although it's never going to really be as effective as them living in social groups like they could, sometimes there's no real way around it, so I've been spending as much of my time with him as possible. But if I get like a 9-to-5 job in the future, then I won't be at home to be able to spend as much of my time with a male mouse as possible, and that would make me feel really guilty. But there are still times when he makes me feel really guilty. If I walk into the room and open the rat cage and start giving them attention, he'll be at the bars just staring at me looking really sad. And even if I have him out for like an hour, as soon as I put him back, he wants to be with me all the time. I think he's behind me right now and he keeps looking at me and making me feel really bad. But there are times when he makes me feel quite guilty for not giving him attention every second of the day, and part of me thinks that is his personality. He is quite a needy mouse, but also I don't really want to have to feel that kind of guilt again with a male mouse. I like having the rats and knowing that they have each other for company, and I think having female mice, you'd always have that reassurance that they have the other female mice to give them attention and give them affection. So that's something else that also sways my decision towards not wanting to own another male mouse in the future. Now, not that this is the deciding factor for me not wanting to own males in the future, but I do get a lot of judgmental and misguided comments about me housing him alone. Probably from people that don't know Fig's story and don't know that he was being housed with his brothers, and it wasn't my decision to take him away from that. They were deciding between themselves that they weren't happy living together, and they were attacking and fighting each other, and he would have ended up dead if he'd stayed in that situation. But I do get a lot of comments from people saying that he needs to get a friend and that I shouldn't have took him away from his brothers. But these are probably from people that do house males together and they do get along. But most of the time males will fight, and they will fight to the death, and sometimes it's only a matter of time before something happens and they get injured. So I guess it would be nice in the future to be able to own an animal without being told that you're constantly doing something wrong or that what you're doing is harmful to them, when really there isn't quite an ideal solution in this situation. All I know is that I took him away from somewhere where he was being injured and he was being kept in a really tiny cage because the breeder didn't have anything better to put him in. All I know is that I've done my absolute best to care for him in the best way that I can possibly provide, and I've not done anything intentionally to harm him, but it would be nice to not get these kind of comments all the time if I didn't have a male mouse in the future. Something else I wanted to mention is that me not wanting another male mouse in the future does make me feel really guilty, because males are really hard to find homes for due to all the things that I mentioned before. When I'd made the decision that I wanted a mouse and that I wanted a male mouse, I started contacting some breeders before I found Fig and before I was given Fig for free. One of the breeders that I contacted, and I'd said that I was looking for males and asking if she had any available, said that she was over the moon that I was interested in males, because that is one less male that she would have to cull, because she just couldn't find homes for them, and any males that she had left over from litters that she couldn't find homes for, she did unfortunately have to cull these. I would definitely say though, if you are thinking of getting mice, do not completely rule out male mice. I didn't do it when I'd heard all the rumours of how bad they smelt, and honestly I would not change anything for the world. I'm really glad that I got to experience Fig, and I'm really glad that he was part of my life and made me really fall in love with owning mice. And I wouldn't say not to get them because of their smell, and I'd definitely say if you are thinking of getting mice, if you are thinking of getting a male mouse, just make sure you can give them plenty of attention. And for some people the smell of male mice just won't bother them at all. I know that in the UK we have a lot smaller houses and we don't have aircon, we don't have great ventilation. In the winter we have to keep our windows shut, otherwise it gets really cold, and we don't have any other source of really good ventilation, and our rooms are quite small. The one that I'm in right now is kind of small. You'd probably be really shocked if you have a house in America, and this is probably smaller than some of your bathrooms, so it really does depend on a lot of things: your tolerance to bad smells, your room size, bedding, everything, etc, etc, as to whether you'll find the smell that bad or not. But I definitely wouldn't rule them out. Maybe go and visit some people who have male mice, or go to some sort of mouse show just to get an idea of how bad they can smell and whether that's something that would put you off or not. But it's definitely not something that puts me off Fig himself. I love him and I'm glad that I had him, and it's just something that in the future I know that I do not want another male mouse again. So does this mean that I won't be ever owning mice again? Well, no. I'd love to own a group of female mice, and in my head I have it all planned out already. I'd love to get a Detolf style cage and have it on top of the unit that I have now. You have no idea what I'm looking at because you've not seen my room yet, but I'd love to get a Detolf cage and have a group of female mice living in there. And that's another reason why I don't want to get another male, is because I'd love to have a group of females and experience and watch them interact and bond with each other. And if I had both, I don't think I'd have the room for both, so I'd much prefer to experience females in the future. And if I move out of here and I'm able to get a Detolf, after I move out of here and Fig is still with me, then he will get to experience living in a Detolf for himself for the remainder of his life, and then I'll probably use it to house female mice, which is really exciting. And yeah, I'd love to own female mice in the future. I just don't want to own another male again. So yeah guys, that is it for today's video. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you on keeping male mice. I hope that's okay. I always get requests to feature Fig in more videos, so if there's any videos you'd like to see specifically featuring him, please let me know and I will be sure to do those with Fig. And of course don't forget to subscribe to see more animal related videos from us, and we'll see you in our next video. Say bye Fig. Say bye. Bye. Can we just appreciate how cute he's being right now? You're a good boy, Fig. A good boy. Oh. I love when he does this with his tail.